Hello Sagittarius. So now let's get your pen and notepad out because this is going to be a very special month. It could be a bumpy road for many of you. It could be a door opener that can blast open wide for others of you. We're looking at your solar chart, so that's general for all of you Sagittarians. But what I'm going to be discussing and pointing out for you here might show up in different areas of what I'm explaining here today in your personal individual chart, which of course I can't see, but for Sagittarius in general, the main focus this month is going to be about your financial situation. We have things going on in your second house. That's the money, the income, and so forth that you rely on. And it's also settlements, it's insurance, it's bonuses and royalties, commissions, some of those things as well. And we have this full moon on the 9th. I will backtrack from the beginning of the month, which you do want to hear, but this full moon is what is really causing this big energy burst this month. And it is intense, it's hot, it's passionate, but then again also we can see that there is power games coming in, guilt trips, projections, and so forth. And it is because that this full moon will be conjuncting Pluto. Pluto's in your second house for money and income, so we're really feeling the extent of what that is going to do. It's like something, a surge coming up. Think about a volcano. If something has been suppressed for a long time, which it might have for many of you, it might now just come to the surface in this big eruption. Not only are they conjunct on the 9th, but what we're getting as well is on the opposite end in your 8th house, which has to do with the commissions, royalties, settlements, and so forth, is the sun is there in opposition to Pluto, which of course naturally would put it into opposition to the moon. Now the sun is you, that's how you radiate. The moon is how you react. And so this is strong, but it starts earlier than the 9th, because why? Already on the 2nd of July, Mars and Pluto are going to be in opposition. Okay, that's the trigger of something even larger to come. But this is great in itself, big in that sense, intense. And that is because you've heard me say before, Mars is dynamite, right? And Pluto is nuclear. Put the two of them together in a challenged aspect. What does that do? It's like this release of energy. So that is going to set things on board for what you can expect throughout the first couple of weeks of this month. On the 4th, I feel there's communications. There might even be some unexpected news coming in. Mercury always communicates and delivers news. It's coming from out of the left field with Uranus. Uranus is in your chart in the 5th house, so it has to do with some kind of creative project that you might be working on, and then you're going to have to deal with that. Now, on the 4th, I could see how your dreams are starting to flourish, okay? The sun, which is you, Neptune, your visions, your creativity, your hopes, and really wanting now to see that they could come forward in a great way, but you're going to have to make some decisions. So even though we have your Neptune in a healthy place with the sun is also scoring up on Jupiter, which means what is fair, what is unfair, what is balanced, and so forth. Jupiter is righteousness and bringing these scales into a balance. Now Jupiter for you is in the 11th house, so that's where that's coming from. So any groups, organizations, friends, and so forth, you might see there's an adjustment that's needing to be made there on the 5th. But on the 7th, you're happy-go-lucky, you're thinking everything is great, you're communicating very enthusiastically, all right? Venus is beautifully aligned, which brings up your emotions, love and romance, but it's also money. So you might be purchasing something here on the 7th and feeling good about it. But behind all of this, whatever took place on the 2nd is lurking behind, and it's building up. Mars was in opposition to that Pluto, and it's moving now. And on the 9th, we have the Sun and Pluto being in opposition. So whatever took place on the 2nd, you will have that again on the 9th. Now with the Sun and the full moon, right? So be careful though not to guilt trip or fall for any guilt trip type conversations, which is typical of anything Plutonian. whether you're feeling guilt-tripped or somebody else feels guilt-tripped, it just brings in these very uncomfortable situations. On the 14th, we have Mercury and Jupiter. Now this is good though, because Mercury communicates, Jupiter is wanting to get something fair and square. It has to do with your hopes and dreams, your aspirations, right? And Mercury communicating this. Mercury now being in that 8th house, moving close to your 9th house, so you might start to be thinking about some travel or journey that you want to do. Not only because Mercury is going to be getting into that 9th house, but Jupiter loves travel as well, rules travel, long distance travel. So that's the 14th, and I could see some excitement there. On the 17th, though, we have something not really going the way that you had hoped for. Venus is what you desire and love. Neptune is that higher dimensional octave of Venus. So it's spiritual and it's lofty, it's creative, but maybe something is being delayed or set aside, and there might be a need for a rain check perhaps. On the same day as you're trying to figure out, like, okay, why did this fall apart? Why didn't it come together? And your mind is really churning, right? You may not be paying too much attention to where you're heading physically. Okay, Mars rules the physical action of our body, right? And it is square Uranus on this day. So if your attention is over here, trying to figure out, hey, what a weird month, you know, your mind is really off on this month. And then you might not see the chair that if you're thinking you're heading this way, you might not see the chair is like that, you might stub your toe, something like that. It's an accident-prone day on the 17th, you know, so definitely if you're out and about driving, do not text and drive. That's always something we want to keep in mind. Be careful with sharp objects. Also, that is another thing of Mars. It's a little explosive here with Uranus. When we talk about that, we all know what's been in headline news. And definitely this is a month where we can probably come to see a lot of headline news on a national base, international base. That has nothing to do with our personal charts, but these are universal transits. So we're all going to feel them, one place or another. Right now, we're talking your solar chart, so it has to do with communication, and should I say, your financial situation. That's where the trigger is going to be the strongest. And then, of course, in your own individual natal chart, wherever those transits will show up, you will have a second opposition showing up. So we all have two of these occurrences taking place. Our charts that we are forecasting here, but that are natal charts, or birth charts. It will have its expression there as well. Now, to move on with that, 18th, 19th seems to be good. Contractual agreements are great. You starting off, if it's a new business, fantastic. Congratulations. It's a wonderful signature to take with for the long term, okay? This is Venus and Jupiter ensuring that your money is going to be good, it's going to be safe, it's going to allow you now to really look at what it is you're wanting to achieve. Jupiter in your 11th house, that's your hopes and dreams that you've been working for, planning for a long time. Venus coming in with the money, and I can see how that too is going to be absolutely fantastic for you. Venus will express itself through the 7th house of partnerships this month, whether that has to do with your significant other or anybody else that you might be speaking to as far as partnering up with, say, a work or a career project or something of that nature. I feel that you can have some very good, not just communications, but mutual visions on what you want to achieve. And also that we have Mercury being secured by Saturn. Saturn always looks out for us in the long run, the longevity of, and we're saying longevity of what? Well, it has to do with Saturn being in your first house, has to do with you, Sagittarius. Mercury is communication, documents, agreements, signed agreements, and so forth. So you're looking out for your own long-term future right now. Saturn has taken nearly 29 years to get to this very degree, to have this communication and have the blessing of Venus and Jupiter on the very same day to lock something in. So I think you should be doing really, really well. Furthermore, we have the new moon on the 23rd for you. This new moon is going to be in your 9th house, which has to do with long distance travel, or if you're thinking of moving, it's long distance movement, not just to the other side of the city. This, I feel, is great. Why? Because not only are we planting seeds for the full year to come until the new moon gets back into this area, you can already, within a month, come to see how this is going to grow for you. However, though, it's not just a beautiful place to have your new moon, but it's receiving two great aspects. One from Saturn, one from Uranus. Uranus will keep things exciting, bringing in the creative energy of the 5th house for you, which has everything to do with your self-expression, has to do with love and romance, it has to do with creativity, the business that you own. It has this beautiful golden alignment to this new moon, so whatever you are choosing, you don't have to act on it on the new moon day, but whatever you're receiving or whatever it is you are focusing on, as if giving a promise to yourself down the road, it will carry the signature of this unexpected, joyful Uranian aspect, and it will give you longevity because why? Saturn is anchoring it in there from your 1st house, which has to do with you. What a beautiful new moon. Circle this on your calendar. Be aware of what you're thinking, because that is what you will be projecting. Okay, 23rd. On the 24th, yes, I feel there could be some phone calls, there could be some meetings or communications that are really opening up a door for you, and you might be a little stunned, a little like, oh my God, right? Even to the point where you might be a little doubtful. And I say that only because even though Mercury and Uranus are communicating well, you've just had, you know, a day or two ago, these experiences that are coming together for you so beautifully. Venus might say, do I dare to? Can I really trust this? And that might be where you've been in the past. Venus is in opposition to Saturn. So, you know, if you're second guessing yourself and having little doubts, just be the observer of it, okay? I'm feeling that you're in a good place. You might want to see where it's going to go over the long term. This might have to do also in a relationship aspect, though, because yes, something could come from it, but you're not really buying into it. Not yet. That could come later. On the 26th, new beginnings, the Sun and Mars, they're conjunct on their annual meeting. As they are here, Mars for you is definitely wanting to kick into action, and you will be taking actions. This is you setting yourself up for what you can expect in August, which we'll be talking about next month, and it's signing off with joy. This joy might be delivered to you maybe as a surprise. I always love when I see Uranus and Venus in this kind of aspect, because it rules the heart, it comes from the heart, it's genuine, it's joyful. Uranus will bring that surprise element to it. It could indicate like a new beginning, like we said there with Mars and the Sun. You're taking new action, but here your emotions are going to follow right behind it too. So you're going to have something validated there at the very last of the month. So, Sagittarius, what a month. It's breaking ground, so sit tight, and I will see you next month in August. Have a good one now.